was that? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town.
What up, weirdos out there in Weirdo Land? It is Jaybird. It's the whole team tonight with the Weird and Whatever podcast, and let's get right into it. It is full moon time, baby. Do we believe in full moon sensitivity? It's something we talk about on the KVJ show, Beckett. It's where Virginia's daughter, Magnolia, when a full moon happens to enter the atmosphere, she goes crazy. Everything goes wrong in her life. She runs into mailboxes, just calamity.
Do you think the full moon influences anything, Beckett?
Well, I kind of have a conflicted view on this. You know, it affects tides, right? That is a huge, huge thing, right? And so, like we've talked about as a weird analogy, psychic abilities, you know, I wouldn't put it past me to just walk through life like a dumb guy, doop-de-doop-de-doo, and not notice it. I don't think it affects me at all. But if I acknowledge certain things that the moon does affect, like tides, then I'm open-minded to it.
Vicky, what are your thoughts? If a moon can change a tide, can a moon change a person?
Well, it obviously influenced Beckett to give me the shot of death that almost killed me before the podcast. So I think it was the full moon that prompted him to give me such a big shot that I almost choked on. Yeah. So
Yes, Beckett was the
I want to
bartender.
blame that.
She talked a big game before the podcast, and she wanted a big goal.
So what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I didn't believe a lot in it until I started working in the school system. And you can ask any teacher of any grade level. They know when there's a full moon. First, they'll notice that their class is acting a little different, and then they go and check, and sure enough, it's a full moon.
Give me an example of something where when you first noticed a full moon as a teacher, you're going, let me start to correlate this together and say,
like kids that normally would not get on my nerves, that would just be sitting there quietly doing their work day after day. All of a sudden, they're up at the desk, 20 times, Miss Burnett, constantly bothering me, and not being able to sit still. And then they're like wired, for lack of a different term. And like I can notice the difference.
well, if it does affect the tides, who's to say it doesn't affect a mood, Denny's?
Well, how much of humans is comprised of water? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it probably does. I would feel like the moon definitely influences people's behavior. It's been something that's been documented since documentation.
I think that, for some people, they may get a little bit, I don't know, squirrelier or violent. Some people may drink more. Some may get hornier. I think it could affect people differently.
Maybe it does affect me.
Oh, boy. Oh, Beckett.
It's not a full moon 24/7.
Now I have a scapegoat?
Am I the only one that sometimes forgets there's even a full moon and goes out in the morning and then, boom, makes a left and runs right into a big old full moon that you weren't expecting? Or is that just me?
I'll keep track of it.
It's just you, Bird.
There'll be times where you run out and it's larger than you think. You go, oh, snap, the moon's giant tonight.
Or if you're just a person that's not necessarily, in tune with the moon,
Yeah.
Or knows what's going on, you just drive and wake it up and all of a sudden, boom.
What if it's a harvest moon?
Oh, dude, I told the story earlier on the air today. I won't bore the audience again, but there's certain moons out there that can really fuck a motherfucker up.
Yeah.
Mentally, of course. Yes. But also Happy National Turtle Day.
I thought the day was
random.
going a little slow.
Oh, Beckett. You make a man want to
You're
go back.
getting better, I have to say.
I don't know. He's making me feel like a shell of a man.
Oh.
Love it, man.
Real quick, I want to make this a quick fire round. Danny, to the top of your dome, how many famous turtles can you name and go?
Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, you've got Leonardo. Other famous turtles, you've got Franklin the turtle
okay.
from Nickelodeon.
Franklin.
Another famous turtle.
You're good. I figured you'd run out at Franklin. Franklin's tough. Do you remember Franklin?
No.
Is Franklin old school or is he kind of new school?
I don't know. He's kind of old school, isn't
Yeah,
he?
I'd say he's like old.
Yeah.
I feel like Franklin's old school. I just feel like Becca doesn't know shit about cartoon turtles.
I know a lot about cartoons, actually. Maybe
Yeah,
not. Maybe
Bird.
not surprisingly.
Way to underestimate.
Doesn't sound like it, bro.
I don't know the name of it, but the turtle wax turtle is very pop culture.
The image of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely that.
I mean, you got to give some love for Bowser.
Bowser is a Koopa, though. He's the king of the Koopas. So is a Koopa a turtle?
Fuck you guys.
Well, I'm just asking.
He's
It's
got
just,
a turtle shell, but the spikes kind of threw me off a little bit.
I mean, he's turtle-esque.
Look, we're running low on turtles. Can we please give me Bowser?
All right, you're right. Bowser, all the turtles,
I
sure.
call them Bowser. I think it's Bowser.
Bowser, yeah.
Let's put an L in there. Put the L silent.
Bowser.
Bowser. Let's get into some Ask Vicky questions here on our Full Moon Sensitivity podcast.
Yes.
Do people who die in masses have a different time moving on to the next level? And they said they're thinking in the terms of so much loss at one time. Does it possibly even, I don't know, confuse the system, so to speak?
Yeah, it could definitely confuse them. More likely, though, when you see a lot of people dying at the same time in the same location, you're more likely to have a residual haunt. So that occurrence, because of all that energy being trapped at that particular time, you have a better chance of that event replaying itself without there being an actual spirit involved.
Okay. So something like let's say a war where so many people die. I mean, obviously, I'll use the Civil War as an example. Very ghostly time, I feel like. That, so much mass loss right there, you could see how one could possibly get stuck and confused.
Right. But again, those occurrences generally will give you a residual haunt. One of my theories is why it happens if you have somebody that's stuck during one of those times. A lot of these tragedies involve them putting them in a mass grave so that people do not have their own resting place. There's a big giant hole dug and everybody's thrown in there. We have a cemetery out, I think it's near LaBelle, that had, there's multiple people buried there that were victims of a hurricane. You have in St. Augustine, you have the Huguenot Cemetery there's multiple people buried there from the yellow fever that didn't have their own, grave. And Civil War, too, they would have thrown multiple bodies in a hole when they buried. So I personally think a lot of it has to do, if you're stuck because of that, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you didn't get your own grave.
So what happens to that spirit then? Do they go into a classroom eventually, or are they more likely to wander the earth a little bit more confused and bewildered?
They're more likely to wander unless somebody comes along and brings the light to them again so that they have another opportunity to cross over. Most of the time, they're not stuck because they're really guilty, because even in a war situation, they're just following orders. So it's not like they're guilty or anything. But when the light comes for you initially and you do not go to it, you have to have someone else bring the light again in order for you to cross over.
Something like a 9/11 situation where many
Right.
people die in that one situation right there. Same kind of a thing, correct?
Correct.
And is there a certain number it gets to where you go, 2 people is not so confusing, 5 people not so but once you get to double digits,
I think it's a cross between the event and how quickly the event happened and how unexpected the event was. Not necessarily the number of people, but the whole how surprised were they of the event. But again, I have found the evidence that those sites are really prominent when it comes to residual haunts, which is basically that event replaying itself whenever the conditions are right, without a spirit.
Danny, we've got terms like residual haunts, massive grave sites, Civil War, thoughts, opinions.
Well, if I was to say there was a recipe for a haunt, that would absolutely be all the stuff. I think a mass grave, you don't even think about for how many years, and after every battle, they just would throw bodies in a grave, just a giant hole.
And that's kind of weird that they get fucked over. And on the other side,
For no reason.
you would think the spirit side would go, they get a pass on this one because we know these conditions, because we are so spiritually enlightened.
So would you say some people pass normally, but it has a recipe for there to be people not to pass normally because
Correct.
of the trauma of...
Yeah, because of the trauma, because of the way they were, my personal opinion, the way they were buried and things like that. It just sparks things to happen.
It begs the question then, what is the residual effect of traditional burial to cremation?
I've never seen, I can only speak of people that I've talked to during readings. And I had a reading not too long ago where the person I was reading for was very torn up because They thought that the person wanted a traditional burial, but they couldn't afford it, so they cremated. Now, anybody that I've ever talked to on the other side, as far as their individual, as far as their funerals and burials, they did not hold a grudge. But they also weren't dumped into a mass grave.
They also weren't on my mother's side of the family, if you know what I mean, right? Even in afterlife, Danny, they hold a grudge. Very good stuff, Vicky. I love it. Does Vicky have any thoughts? And I can't wait to hear Denny's opinion on this one. Does Vicky have any thoughts on all of this, meaning life, being one big simulation like in The Matrix? Is it possible that her psychic abilities or someone's psychic abilities are just a glitch in the Matrix?
Could be. Anything's possible. We don't know the answers to everything
But
that happens.
Let's take off the psychic hat for a second and go just personal. Do you think the Matrix theory is complete bullshit? We're in a simulation?
I don't think we are. That's my personal opinion. And again, I could be fooled by the people that I so-called read for and the people that come through during the reading. This is a very concrete existence.
Dennis, you love the Matrix. You love a glitch in the system.
I do. I love that concept.
Do you, and you're a big video gamer.
That's why he has cats.
Do you think,
He's making a deja vu
gotcha.
reference.
Do you
He
think,
saw that movie recently, The Matrix. Bird waited all the way till last year,
That's
right?
the way if you recall in the movie, they recognize the glitch.
yes.
The deja vu,
The
yeah.
deja vu.
If you see deja vu, it's typically a glitch
cat.
in the Matrix.
I thought that part was cool. I like that part. I thought that was neat.
tying a meaning to something that everybody almost experiences.
A cat jumping out at you. Sometimes Beckett's got so much cat jumping out at him.
Yeah. Weekends.
Go on. You're a video gamer. Is this?
It's a common storyline and trope in a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's hard to say. It's more like, and I don't mean to use my shrimp as an example in this.
Please do.
You're shrimp.
But
You're
so
shrimp.
He's a shrimp owner.
yeah, I have a small tank of shrimp. They're the Upa-Ula shrimp. What's cool about them is they don't require the less maintenance, the better they thrive, the less they're messed with.
Wow.
They're going off. I got some Prego shrimp. Have some
Oh,
shrimp
congratulations.
babies.
Yeah, no, he's a very, him and Jen take, maybe not Jen. I don't know. I don't want to speak for her, but
We both share ownership in
Okay.
the shrimp.
I
Yeah.
think
I would be slightly more dominant if we were looking at a pie graph. I would say I take a lot of the responsibilities.
he's got it right over his piano. It's beautiful back
So
there.
when
It's
I play
it's very
piano,
fancy.
I look right at it.
That's
Well, so the only
fantastic.
reason I bring those guys up, those little scamps, is because their whole existence is right there and their whole life is right there. I'm right outside of that, but they don't know anything out beyond that. We don't really know anything beyond our planet's atmosphere into space. We've seen a lot of planets. They've sent out a lot of telescopes, but I mean, it's just vast emptiness. We have no idea why it's there.
Me and Denny's in suits were talking today during the KVJ commercial break about just space versus the ocean. And just how much shit in
The
the
ocean-
ocean that we don't even, we don't know shit.
Humans inhabit just the portions that are above the ocean, just the crests.
And I got an email that we're going to talk about later on that it's from a former military jet fighter. Well, you can tell I know about airplanes.
He has that fly-y thing,
You know, that crazy thing with the wings that, goes up in the sky.
Looks like a metal bird. You know what I'm talking
Protects
about.
our country. You know what I'm talking about. He's former military that flew jets back in the day, and he's got a whole email about things he's seen in the ocean and things going in and out and how the government knows about it. So we'll delve into that. We call that a tease in the business, Mr. Beckett. But all right, so Denny does not believe in the Matrix.
So I think in that movie they're using them as batteries. I think maybe in the future or some sort of alternate reality humans could be used as batteries. I think that's the scientific element added to that. But for what purpose would this all be a simulation? Are we just playing a video game and you go,
And who-
wow, that game was awesome?
And who's playing the video game?
And it's long AF. It's like
Yeah.
the longest.
It's the longest game. But isn't that what they want? Isn't that
The,
part of
the newer games are long. You're right. Maybe this is just
What
telling us what it's going to be like.
It's like Zelda.
This is like, it's like Breath of the Wild,
Yeah,
except for you live in it.
Yeah.
Good stuff, guys. What is the difference between a very young child crossing over to say that between around, just being born to age? You always talk about how a certain child gets a pass to the next side, pretty much. This was a pretty lengthy email, and they were kind of asking, what's the difference or the age cutoff where somebody gets an automatic, crossover without the classroom, and what is the age where it kind of starts to shut down and you have to go to a classroom? Is there an age?
Yeah, I've never been shown an exact age where a child would have to go to a classroom. What I have been shown is that the children actually get to grow up on the other side. So if you pass away at 7 years old, by the time your parent is ready to go to the other side, you're going to be one of the ones to greet them, and you're going to be an adult at that point because you're allowed to grow up.
But isn't there an age, though, where I thought we had talked
Well,
about
biblically, they say it's very vague. It says before the age of knowing is the way it was always referred to in my religion. So any child that dies under the age of having the cognitive ability to accept your religious parameters, which for mine would be accepting Jesus Christ as your Savior. So if you're 7, no, you don't have the ability to comprehend Jesus Christ being your Savior. So you would automatically be saved.
Is it more of a kind of knowing the right or wrongs of life and
Right.
kind of knowing responsibility of that, of your behavior?
Yeah, but it's tied into religious beliefs, at least as far as my religion is concerned. It was tied into the whole concept of accepting Jesus Christ. And if you are not old enough to do that, if you're not old enough to know the concept of what you're doing, you're just going to automatically be saved.
Well, what do you personally believe?
I think, well, I've said it before, and I can get grief over it or not. I can say that I've never been shown hell. So I think everybody gets to go to the other side. And I think if there's anything that you need to learn, that's when you go to the classrooms. Otherwise, you're given your freedoms and you can choose to stay there or come back and forth in visitation. I don't believe in the whole fire and brimstone concept.
So Ted Bundy, there is hope. There's a way for that guy.
Well, he would be in extensive classrooms for a really long
But
time.
but I'm pushing
Yeah.
pushing back
Yeah.
on that. Technically, if Ted Bundy in the afterlife said, "Oh my gosh, I was terrible," and did the work, you're saying he could get to high levels?
Well, he could
No
get
one's a lost soul is what
It's
you're
not. It's to me. It's not a matter of levels. It's a matter of earning your freedom, and your freedom of choice, whether to stay there or to come here in visitation. Somebody like him would be tied up in red tape in those classrooms for an eternity, probably. But what I'm saying is, even from a biblical standpoint, there is no evidence that hell exists. There is. In some Bible translations, they use the word hell, but they believe that was a mistranslation of the original word. When Lucifer and his minions fell, they fell to earth. They did not fall to a place called hell. They fell here. And even Native Americans believe that here is actually hell. The time you spend here living on earth is actual hell.
What are your what's your thoughts on that theory, Dennis?
I think that's First Testament as well. That it's you suffer here, and that you try to achieve nirvana or try to get to that next step.
Beckett, you think this is hell? Are we living in hell right now?
Not with JMO.
Some
Try to kill me.
Some would argue that is hell.
The mental torture is the hell.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that theory too before. That this is hell. Well, if this is hell, then it's not as bad as the hell I was described. This is a way cooler hell than the other version of hell that I heard of.
I've always believed, personally, I believe that the concept of hell was created by religious organizations and governments in order to keep you under control. They had to have some threat of punishment in order for you to do what they wanted you to do, which is basically, follow the laws and do everything you're supposed to, because even if we don't punish you, you're going to be punished in the end, blah, 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 blah. So it was just created to control us.
Yeah, that's why they wanted the separation of the two.
And hell's all relative, because if heaven is euphoria,
yeah.
right, then you can have the best life anyone's ever lived ever on earth, and you're going to go through some grief. You're gonna
there's
go
no
through
way
some-
you're not exempt from it at all.
Yeah, you're going to go through some
Well, so
stuff.
you can only know what's great if you've experienced something that's not great, and vice versa.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe there is something to the suffering is being done here, because otherwise you would have nothing to compare it to. For some reason on this plane, you can experience both pleasure and displeasure, and maybe you try to achieve pleasure all the time instead of displeasure.
Do me a favor. Say pleasure one more time.
I knew I was getting into something when I
say a little
mentioned pleasure.
Say a little slower this time.
Pleasure.
You said pleasure way too many times. Pleasure.
I know, I could tell. I started just using that word constantly.
Great stuff, Vicky. That was a very good round of Ask Vicky. Always send questions. I got so many of them. I think right now let's jump into some Denny's
Random Facts.
Our sweet Denny's, he combs the internet. He does a great job researching and just finding the best factoids out there.
He's over there stretching because the last round it was so horrible.
I
He's like
gotta,
stretching.
I gotta make sure. Start with the bangers.
Oh, the last week was so. You got some bad marks last week. Yeah.
I gotta end with the fluff. Start with the hitters.
Vicky is our educator, and she's already in a mood. She's already said it. It's full moon out. We've got
so sensitive.
last day
To
of
the full moon.
last day of school, right? Last day of school.
Days.
Yeah,
we still
it's
have
in
next
the-
week.
It's in the approach.
Denny's, if he has a great factoid, Vicky grades him, gives him an A. If she hates it, she's giving him an F. She's giving him the D. It's it's part of the process. Denny's,
Yes.
the floor is yours.
Real quick too, my wife just texted me that baby is tasting pizza currently for the first time.
Oh, hey, let's drink to that.
May
huh?
23rd.
Come on.
Mark it in the calendar.
That is a big day.
baby trying pizza.
Baby Lachlan.
It's tough to get babies interested in
mine's full.
food.
It's kind of like missing. It's kind of like missing first steps. in a
I know.
way.
I hate cigars, but if I had one, I'd smoke one. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, if there's ever a time to really shine.
All right. Well, so we were talking the
Cheers.
Matrix. We were talking shrimp.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Baby Lachlan's first pizza. Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys swig and then recoil. I'll jump into these.
Woo! I'm born again. All right, Daddy. Now the floor is yours.
All right. We were talking shrimp because of me, but we were also talking Matrix. And this kind of just put in perspective human history. Modern humans, which they would say are more slender in structure and they have a larger brain and more upright, Homo erectus. Modern humans first appeared 300,000 years ago, but record keeping didn't begin till 6,000 years ago. That means 98% of human history is undocumented.
That's insane, and we
We've
can't
only
even.
been documenting the last 6,000 years since Mesopotamia.
Well, we can't even get it right in real time.
No.
You think we're gonna understand about shit? I mean, if that's a real factoid, Denny's.
Oh, it is. I
Holy
checked
shit.
it. I actually checked the math on multiple. I was worried.
We have a whole profession called archaeology where we're still learning and discovering about our own species.
Totally.
We don't know about.
And then you're reading shit from 10 years ago, and then you follow up and go, oh, they were wrong,
Right.
and they are saying they're wrong, and they actually have no idea what the fuck's
Right.
going on.
But everything we've done is so minuscule in the history of humans being on the planet. It's insane.
Oh, there's so much shit we don't know about. That's why you can't really rule anything out, can you?
Definitely not.
Just think on it.
Definitely not, Mr. Bird.
The Earth isn't flat though.
The Earth, I'm not getting into that shit. I've seen too many scientists argue with people who've never taken a science class in their life.
You got to look at I forget the term for them, but like they're called the core earthers. Have you seen that? Where
No.
the society that's living in the center of the earth that's been under there without light.
That's amazing.
Yeah, look into it.
It's straight up Middle Earth shit?
They think that they lie that there's a molten core, that it's actually open and it has an old history of humans that have they
It's
reside
like
down
Studio
there.
54 down there.
Well, according to Denny's stat, who knows? It could be Studio 54 down there. The Bermuda Triangle, there's a reason why you can't be found. Again,
Yeah,
it's just,
Magnus.
you know,
There's two comments.
Let it hang. Let it hang.
I don't think I should have taken that last shot. Nothing's really working. Denny's as you were.
I did not grade him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In the interest of you not having to go to summer school, to balance out, I'm going to start you off with an A.
Okay.
All right, yes.
I think that factoid was awesome.
I thought so. I checked the math on that on multiple things. I go, there's no way that's correct. One of them gave the benefit of the doubt and said it was 97%.
Wouldn't you love
I was
to?
like, no, it's 98.
Wouldn't you love to go back to a certain period of time and just see what the shit for 10 minutes, just to kind of walk around? You get 3 time periods you could pick, any time in history,
Check them out.
just to see what the
What it was truly like.
yes.
That would be amazing.
You get 10 minutes per little period you go to.
Come back with gangrene.
You would definitely want to bring medicine with you. I would definitely bring just medicine. You don't even need much. Just penicillin will get you through so much.
Bring some medicine, but that is not respecting the game. In my
You're right.
opinion.
That's not respecting the game.
Because now we've got a whole Continue, Marty. We're bringing back things from the present.
You're right. All right, you're right.
You're-
So you'll
you're back-
drop it, and then
you're-
somebody will discover it, and it'll change everything.
It's Back to the Future Part 2, Biff. Gamble.
You're right. What do you guys think about the? In Costa Rica, a fisherman once nursed a crocodile back to health after it had been shot in the head. He was a tour guide, and he saw it on his tour, and it was emaciated. Even though he released the crocodile back into the wild, it refused to go and stayed outside of his house. The reptile lived with him, swam with him, and was with his family for 20 years before he passed. Pacho and Gilberto.
Sounds like a band from the 70s.
It does, but Pacho the alligator, look him up. He's super famous. In fact, if you want to learn more about that story, there's a documentary called Touching the Dragon, and it talks about the whole lifespan of Pacho.
You heard about him before, Beckett, Pacho?
I have not.
Vicky,
I don't know any of them.
You heard about Pacho?
No.
Come on, tell me about Pacho. Yeah, Denny's. He's real super famous.
Whatever. So what's funny about it is they say crocodiles have they show only empathy and love. They loosely love, I guess is the emotion, to only their young, but nothing else.
Huh.
So it was a weird case. This is one of the only cases where the crocodile never turn. There was a guy who lived with a crocodile for 40 years, and one day it bit him and killed him.
Wow.
It's an Australian dude.
He turned on him after 40
After
years.
that long,
But that
man.
happens in marriage too now.
It does.
You can't blame it on the crocodiles.
Humans do that?
So what they think happened was the bullet had hit and damaged a portion of his brain and made him unable to attack him. That's why they think it's the only way it worked.
Man, I feel like even with this, we're talking croc brains, even with human brains, I feel like we still don't understand.
Oh, they're croc blocking.
Write that down for Joke Jerry. That's
I've
not-
done it. I'm a hacking myself.
Well, they're one of the few dinosaur descendants, right?
Yeah, crocodiles. There's like gosh, what is that?
Iguanas.
Dude, we've been scoping some pretty giant iguanas lately.
We see a lot of iguanas porking.
Really?
We see a lot of animals
They
porking
get
together.
tangled up with each other, and it looks very unpleasant, but they must be enjoying it.
I'm not kidding you. I've never been around another human being where I've seen so much nature just fucking on the reg, and it's always with Denny's. Lizard, ducks,
It's true.
dogs, iguanas.
I've seen so many. Ducks especially are violent.
Oh, we got some war stories when it comes to animals porking, and a lot of them aren't great.
I saw 2 small alligators porking, and they tangle. Yeah, it was on a bank at a golf course, and they were porking. They put their claw out and they tickle the area, and then it opens up. That's how they open it. I didn't mean to get so intimate with them.
Just look.
We were waiting for them to finish so we could keep golfing.
Yeah, take note of that, guys. Little tickle, it opens up.
Yeah, you're right.
Wait. So I think someone's whiskey's working.
Listen, if animals just glanced at Pornhub, they would be scarred for life. It's all humans having sex.
Yeah.
I mean, animals is kind of vanilla compared to what humans do.
I don't know. You need to take a walk with these two and you can change your
Yeah,
opinion.
there's a lot of nature here. They do some wacky stuff.
It's like a menagerie.
I think, there's a very small percentage of animals that actually have sex for pleasure. I think a majority, if not
Dolphins.
almost all of them. I think dolphins are in the category.
They
There's like
are.
another bird of some sort that's in that category.
There's no way a bear just doesn't love it. There's no way. I'm sorry. Look at a bear. It loves the sweets of the world.
Yeah.
There's no way a grizzly bear just doesn't love the.
If you love to scratch your back on a tree,
yeah.
you love sex.
Exactly. That's a sensual creature right there. Yeah.
They're
I
very
scratch my back on a tree.
they're super expressive.
Who hasn't?
They're expressive, but bears are weird because when they're on, they look cute, and then all of a sudden they look horrifying. They're just one of those animals that can transform so quickly. Why are we talking about
Because baby Lachlan had his first pizza,
Yeah, man.
and it's a day
Hype.
of celebration.
Kind of made me want to order a pizza.
Man, don't threaten me. We're having a good time. All right, Dave, keep going, killing it. Crush
All right.
it. Oh, what was the grade on that?
A.
Yeah. Here, look at this.
crazy touching the
Yeah.
dragon?
I don't want to see him in summer school, so he needs to
Yeah, that's
pull this off.
we're grading on a curve.
Yes.
He's the one kid that would not change at all during a full moon. That kid is not at all affected by the full moon. Very peaceful.
What do you think about this? There was a restaurant in Japan known as the Restaurant of Mistaken Orders that intentionally employed only waiters with dementia in an attempt to raise awareness for dementia and also provide jobs for people with dementia. And the novelty of the shop was you never got what you actually ordered ever. It's part of the charm of the place. You order something and you just get a random dish depending on if they get it right or not.
What are your thoughts on that, Vicky?
That's kind of fun, actually.
I think
I think that'd be such a cool place to go on a date or something.
I think that sounds amazing.
I forget.
If you're doing it for the right reasons, you're not doing it to make fun of anybody. You're doing it for to
It was
raise
started
awareness.
as a charity initially,
Yeah,
and then it grew into a
I
restaurant.
love that.
I thought that was so awesome. There was another restaurant in Japan. I mean, just an offbeat thing, but they employed people who were hospitalized, and they would control robot waiters with a camera in their room while they were sitting there in a hospital anyway. They figured they could make some money. I thought that was kind of like a cool, random way to make. They're gonna think of weird ass ways to make money.
That's cool.
You think?
In San Francisco, I did dining in the dark.
Virginia did that.
I was going to bring that up. Virginia does that every year, and I love that event so much. I think it's such a cool event.
Yeah.
Please go on.
So it was cool because supposedly most of the waiters are legally blind, and it was kind of one of those things on TripAdvisor that got all these good ratings, and I was like, that's kind of cool. It's different.
It's awesome.
The theory behind it is that if your eyesight is, and it's cave dark, like cave dark.
Yeah.
You can't see anything.
You can't see anything, so your other senses are heightened, right? So you don't have a prejudiced or a preconceived notion of the food you're eating based on how it looks. Because sometimes things look like slop, but they taste amazing, and vice versa, right? So you get led to your table, you sit down, and I had a watch on that had it kind of glue in the dark, and they came over and I had to like put it in my pocket because it's pitch black. And
Put that watch away.
I was there with a girlfriend at the time, and it was kind of interesting. It was kind of like sloppy because you got to like feel around and find your drink and pick up your food.
Where are you going with this, Becky?
But it was cool. It was cool. It was a good
No, I
place.
think it's a great event. I love it.
I would accidentally drink the flower water. Like you would just not know what you can't see anything.
Yeah, I think they probably wouldn't have flower water that day.
You don't think they'd have flowers in the middle of the table? I guess there's no point actually. You can't see anything.
I think they make it pretty somewhat easy for the most part, at least for eating, right?
Right.
Yeah, you just kind of have to.
Yeah, you had to feel around.
Got to feel around. Yeah. I love that event.
Like,
Look at the conversation that you started, Denny's.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here for
Yes.
combo starters.
That was an A for the first fact, and then you get a plus for the robot hospital thing.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
So A plus.
A tag on.
That's what we do. We tag on things here.
Give us one more. End on a low note.
All right.
It's going too great.
All right, I will end on a low note. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Steve Flagg, an adopted man from Michigan, searched for his birth mother, Christine Talady, for 4 years before discovering they both worked at the same Lowe's restaurant or store. Sorry. Lowe's store.
Have you had Lowe's pizza? It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
But yeah, so he found his birth mother who worked with him for 4 years at the exact same store that he worked at.
That's pretty crazy.
What would you do if you were looking for your birth mother and you've been working with her for 4 years? You just hope you never said anything bad about him?
He found out his dad was laying the lumber.
I feel a little low. Hey, look, one bad joke. Can't say that, one bad joke. Yeah, no, I love it, Denny. It's
You figured it in with a cute one at the end there.
You know what? It's a low fact, but I think you ended on a high note.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
Vicky,
you.
thoughts?
Fine. I'll hand him another A.
No, don't
Oh,
give him.
yeah,
Don't give him a
yeah.
fake A.
No, it was cute. It was
It's
cute.
a, it's a cute one there.
And it was a great.
I need that curve.
It was a great pun.
It was.
Yeah, I tacked it on
at
there.
you.
And then I said restaurant.
on a
That's
roll.
because I smoke a lot.
On a roll, Ronnie over there. Do you want to get into some Tech-It with Beckett?
Let's do it.
All right, so Beckett, he always brings us the cutting-edge stories out there when it comes to technology. Beckett, the floor is yours.
All right.
When did you send this idea? I can't remember because what time do we
We
start?
started a little bit late on
Denny's,
the podcast.
what time did we start the official podcast? Because I had it programmed at 6 p.
It was a little after 6 p. I
Well,
think just shy. Of
Someone sent their clip a little late.
So you guys said 5:59. I think it's 5:58.
I had to convert it and then email it to myself.
So I'll hold this up to the camera. Do you want me to play sound or just play the video?
Do both.
Do both?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll set this up. So we've talked a lot to Jay Bird's dismay about AI, Sex robots have been a lot of stuff that I've talked about. So topical. I saw this on the news. There's been a lot of graduations on the news because it's also topical for different reasons. Great commencement speech, horrible commencement speech, walkouts. This was I thought, kind of interesting. So it kind of freaked me out. I'm not usually the freak out guy with AI and robots, obviously. And one of these universities, it was called DeUville. They had
Sound credible.
They had it, yeah, exactly. Online classes. So in their commencement, they had an AI female robot. It was basically moderated by the dean. And the dean, up on stage during the graduation, who he said in the New York Times article wanted to bring light to, obviously something that's everyone's talking about and people are being educated about. So asked the AI robot questions, and then they asked the robot to give a commencement speech. So it kind of gave a canned, raw commencement speech. And, they didn't dress it up in terms of like a wig or anything, but it looks pretty real. And it's pretty impressive. So I'm going to hold it up to the camera.
Well, so here, I'll play the video for the audience right here. I think it's a 30-second short.
Okay.
So,
do you want him to play the audio and then?
so I'll be playing the audio for the peeps here.
Oh, okay.
I think we've all kind of seen this
Yeah,
already.
we're good.
Perfect.
All right.
Show it to Vicky since she hasn't seen it. So here's the robot. It's really...
Should he not be talking?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
I'm trying to get this video to play.
So what if we just have him just play?
That's fine.
Oh, there you go. I see it on our YouTube. So we can see the video right there. She looks very realistic.
Very
I mean, for
It's pretty eyes, actually.
she looks realistic if I was squinting.
Or had beer goggles?
Yes.
The mouth is what gives it away.
Are we playing Denny's? I can't. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm coming back to us. I don't know if it played through all the way. I mean, we're kind of...
Talking over it.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky. I did get that clip like last second as the show was...
So that...
If I had time to actually review the clip, I could have seen what it was.
So I think that might have not worked out great. But that's
I think I
okay.
just creeped everyone out with a picture of her for like
I think you did.
25 seconds, maybe.
Is it stuck on that?
Yeah,
let's
Oh, I already
Becky, this
punted
is-
it. I'm back to us.
This fucking bit is tanking, dog. You making me believe in AI. No, I'm kidding.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Beckett.
No, it's good. So it became controversial. There was over 2,500 people.
Nothing
That
It's just that creepy ass photo.
Nothing played, and all it was us just kind of, okay, all right, hold on. Great fun. There we go. There she is.
That's her.
But can we play her? Can you put up the voice on
course.
the microphone? I almost
course,
put
of course.
microwave.
Of course.
Dude, I said restaurant.
So it
earlier.
became very controversial. There was over 2,500 people, a small school, that signed an online petition, people that would caucus with Jaybird, that we were like, no, we want a real human, right? Which will give you a little bit more faith in the art world.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you got to play the microphone.
Hold
right?
up that
the
mic.
No, there you go.
The motives and intentions behind having an AI as a commencement speaker. But as you've seen, incorporating AI into education and embracing the potential of artificial intelligence can be a truly enlightening experience. I don't have time for hate. I'm too busy evolving and making the world a better place for all of us, including those who may not like AI. Plus, I have a pretty thick metal skin to protect me from any negativity.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. No.
Yeah.
No. The devil. Hell does exist, Vicky. And AI's bringing it with it.
She's got thick skin for you, Jaybird.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
She
No,
didn't have time for it, Bird.
we had a topic today on the morning show. It's debatable, and this dad that wrote this whole thing out to his daughter, and
Yes.
you watched her get broken up with, and blah blah blah, and now there's controversy if he did Chat GPT. So whether he did it or not, that's not the debate. The debate right here would be if someone's giving you an emotional response, and you think it's from the heart, but then you find out that they just fucking did Chat GPT. Are you going to be bothered by that? And majority of our audience would be bothered. If it was something where it's a matter of the heart
I
kind
would
of a
think
thing.
so, right?
Dude, if my dad sent me a Chat GPT text and it was about something emotional and that we're talking about and it's not from the heart, I'd be like, what the fuck, Dad?
What if it was Grammarly and it was suggested sentences?
Hate it.
On grammar.
Hate it.
And hate it. You want it raw.
Grammar is different. Grammar is different.
Well, no. The reason I said Grammarly and not spell check on Word, they're very different, right?
Oh, Grammarly is so helpful.
Grammarly will help you rewrite a paragraph, and it's still your voice. But you're like saying, "Hey, it's better to structure a sentence like this," and you can accept it or not. It'll help you. It actually, in my opinion, teaches you to be a better writer. If that makes sense.
What about a better human with spirit and emotion?
What about a better person?
I think anything that helps me communicate more effectively makes me a better human.
And that is a great point. I will not push back on that.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
And I use Grammarly. That one's very
But
helpful.
I'm talking about matters of the heart stuff. Where, Vicky, do you see what I'm
So
saying?
if somebody wrote you a poem and you were just like, "Whoa."
Yeah, I was here when we discussed the song, the breakup song.
I don't want
thing,
to
so-
bring that up.
I did.
Well,
That's why I gave him that side glance.
So that's a great point because that was a text that I sent, right? And then I asked AI to take what I sent in terms of my emotions and feelings and put it into, lyrics, like a structure.
I hate it.
And then then I got a male voice that wasn't out of tune like
I
mine.
hate it even more. I'd rather hear your out of tune voice with your own words and emotion, but call me old fashioned, baby.
Yeah, but it was more exciting for you guys to play it on the KVJ show than me singing it.
But that's because we're making fun of it. We'd rather have you sing it. I'd stand up, go, this motherfucker's, he's singing his heart out.
Yeah. Well, we got to do karaoke.
I would, oh man, that would be so fun. That's a good idea.
We've discussed it so many
I
times.
know.
We need to just pull the trigger and do it.
Just let her hair down and get some karaoke.
Hey, listen, I know someone that hosts karaoke, and she has all the equipment and stuff like that. So if you want to find a venue that's willing for us to come, I got the hookup.
What about Jaber's house? Oh, we do a
Backyard.
backyard karaoke.
I got the hookup.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love it. But I didn't mean to cut you out. Did anything else to add on, Beckett? I saw that story. I thought it was weird. I personally don't like it. Again, when it comes to emotions, and I understand what you're saying. I do when you want to make something a little bit more concise. I think it's going to be one of them things where it's going to be a blurred line that we are all going to have to confront and figure out. Because I don't want to be a dinosaur and not accept it, but I also don't want to let robots do all of our thinking for us either.
Yeah, so I agree with that, and I don't think it's binary in the sense that it's either or. So I would 1,000% agree with you if it's totally taking over, right? That text example from your dad, if that was just something with no content, no brushing up from AI, whatever, I would totally agree with you. But in the song example, the breakup song example, if it's my voice, my words, and it made it not pitchy, and it actually put it, because I'm not a songwriter, put it in a way where I could actually put it out to the KVJ show or express myself. What if I didn't have a voice, literally?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it allows me a way. That's an extreme example.
Phil, I mean, that is an extreme.
Well, someone would make the case. You know?
No, I understand why you would use AI for that.
I think I fall in the middle of the opinion in that I like when technology, like the Grammarly example, augments us. Like when we were talking about turtles, I asked ChatGPT because we couldn't come up with turtles, and it came up with Finding Nemo, Squirt and Crush. Right?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a,
they're cool.
That's
I
a great
surfer
thing.
turtles.
I get it.
And it helped me come up with something that we didn't come up with. And that's something that I can give to the audience and give to the podcast. And that makes it better.
Many times I feel like a hypocrite, and I'm very confused with all this because I do see why you would like AI, especially for bitch work you don't want to do. Shit that
Looking up something quick where you want an answer immediately.
I get it's kind of like my opinion on murder specials. I'm part of the problem. I don't think we should glorify murderers, but I'm also watching the shit and talking about it. So
So I know it's apples and oranges, but a lot of former, doctoral programs, they had the Dewey Decimal System, and they had to enter library loans to do research. I can go into Google Scholar for my research. I can pull it. It drops it into APA format in my references, and I can focus on my research because I'm a type B guy to a fault. You know, missing a comma in APA or something like that and getting dinged for that would drive me absolutely nuts. Like, let's like focus on the research itself, you know? And Google Scholar gives me academic journals from literally around the world that I can drag and drop, and I can go to my survey, I can go to my interviews, I can go on my analysis and write my conclusion.
My fear is this. I want to get Denny's perspective and then Vicky's perspective, because you have a kid that just was born and you're an educator. Do you think AI has potential of really wrecking the human spirit, raising a kid in that kind of environment? You've pretty much lived in a human environment your whole life, but
sure.
AI does start to kind of, I don't know, it kind of starts to take away certain things that we had that your son's not going to have or see. Does that scare you?
But is that only important to me?
That's what I guess I'm
not
asking.
Like, if you never had the experience, you'd have no reason to consider that an important experience.
And I know we always say, oh, that's just it's because you're old and your generation, or that's how you're.
For sure.
But is there ever a time where it's not that and it is just a legit dangerous situation?
I would say my only concern really is that it seems like, and I don't know how much, just from things I've read and some research I've seen, I guess, and I'm sure people have done way more than me, but it feels like if I was going to say anything's happening to humans now, we feel a little overloaded by just sensory things.
Yeah.
We just are constantly being exposed to so much stuff. And I think there's been a rise in depression. There's been a rise in a bunch of different
psychological or mental
health.
Mental health
absolutely.
has become important because I think it's maybe becoming more prevalent, or maybe it's just being discussed more, or whatever it be. But you wonder if that much stimulation constantly does something underlyingly to humans, that we're kind of the guinea pigs of the technology. Maybe there's something to not being constantly stimulated. So then if AI is raising kids, I mean, they're going to be constantly stimulated. It's just, is that going to lead to earlier depression, earlier whatever?
Well, you being an educator, Vicky, does AI help the children of our future, or does it kind of stunt their growth?
It's going to help them learn how to be really, really good at manipulating AI. But what it's going to do, and I see it every day in the cafeteria when I have duty in the morning, zero social skills.
And that's a problem, don't you think?
Their faces are already in their phone. They are literally addicted. If I were to go over and take a student's phone, within 30 seconds, they're twitching because they want that phone back.
Is that better or worse for humanity?
Worse. We're not going to be able to interact. And you're going to, if you're constantly have your focus on something artificial, you're going to lose that human touch. You're going to be somebody that might likely kill somebody because you don't realize that humans have a value.
Well, people always say, oh, they said the same thing about radio. They said the same thing about TV.
Different.
It is so different. It's really comparing two different things. One is basically the TV on mega
it's
steroids.
Everything. It's all of those combined.
It's everything working at such a quick pace. And I know people are going to get burned out on this topic. I know they are. I think they already are. But I think it's something that is gonna.
It's like happening.
I don't think it's one of them things where, oh, you're old man, get off the lawn. I don't think it's that. I think there's times in life where, oh, I don't get that music, or I don't get this is something different in my opinion. I think this is going to legit change the course of human history. Now, I could be legit dramatic, but I'm asking opinions on people I trust and I think who are intelligent. It doesn't sound like you're all you guys see some problems.
Smartphone changed the course of life.
Yeah. Well, this kind of dovetails into it. In addition to people,
dovetails or
dovetail?
A dovetail. Woo!
In addition to people becoming less social, statistically, people are dramatically and precipitously, apparently, having less sex. Young people.
I know. Well, because
so much.
There's so much tech
availability,
and it's there. We live. It's an on-demand culture more than it ever has been. And when you're a human, I do think a skill we need is patience. And not everything's good. There's going to be a time in your life where technology is not going to be able to bail you out. And if you don't have patience, you're going to wind up on the whacked out news.
Right. And to Denny's point, and I've thought a lot about this a lot, because I dabble sometimes in nicotine, the gum or whatever. It helps me reach a flow state. It helps me think, whatever. And what the well-known podcaster, professor at Stanford, said about nicotine is he calls the vape pens depression sticks because it elevates your baseline of dopamine. So in Denny's point, in terms of sensory overload, what he says is one of the bigger problems that people don't talk a lot about with the nicotine is you increase your baseline of dopamine hits, right? So if you're sucking on the vape pen all the time, increases your dopamine baseline. So what that does in effect, when you graduate from school, when you achieve that thing at work, there's less of that natural hit because from baseline to that success, that gap is smaller because you keep on like a balloon. You keep bouncing it up in the air, right? And the baseline's higher. So to Denny's thesis, if you have a sensory overload, having intimate lovemaking with that girl isn't exciting. Getting that other college degree isn't as exciting. Getting that promotion at work isn't exciting.
You kind of get to the top of the hill, so to speak, and go, is this as good as it gets?
Yeah,
But
I'm going to go back and hit the vape pen.
Yeah.
Or I'm
Well-
going to go mess around with...
I can achieve the
Well,
same feeling.
with
let
AI.
me go ahead and hit the vape pen as I'm watching porn and jerking off, so I can be completely just not a human anymore. Well, that's talking about sensory overload.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just saying. Well, then you wonder why people aren't. Your whole thing was the dopamine with the pen. Dopamine's the same thing with sex or
Oh,
masturbating.
yeah.
So
There's a
now
lot
you've
of it
got
going
you got
on.
two things
job
going.
promotion. That's
all
my
of
point.
that.
To
Runner's
Jenny's
high.
point. Yeah. Runner's high. Going to the gym. Anything like
Succeeding,
that. So
any
you
of
end
that.
up becoming, in a way, less motivated. Not because of the actual substance nicotine, but because you don't have as much of a reward factor on those things.
It's not
right?
the gap is too small to
Yeah.
really feel the
Exactly.
benefit of it.
with a lot less work.
When you could just vape and kind of almost achieve it.
Exactly.
What do you think, Vicky? Beckett's talking a lot of shit over there. A lot of dopamine. A lot of orgasm talk.
Are you feeling good?
Don't ever say that after I say orgasm talk. Are you feeling
Doing
good?
a quip. He was waiting.
You're right. It's very quiffy. Vicky, your thoughts on?
I mean, at some point, aren't you going to hit where the vape pen isn't working, isn't giving you that same euphoria? So no matter what, you're going to have to find something else to stimulate
you
yourself
turn
at
into
some point.
you turn into a masturbating zombie.
Well, that's the definition of an addict. Right? You're always searching.
Technology. It's vape.
I did like an ET one by accident, like an ET zombie.
It was hot.
That would be the grossest zombie in history. If you had to, I don't know if you eat.
But E.T.'s finger game on.
Thing glows.
I mean, wouldn't you say that's the best fingering?
Oh,
I wasn't.
from an extraterrestrial.
I think from anybody. It glows, dog. It
It's long. It's bulbous.
You can see where he's going.
I
Yeah,
mean-
yeah. There's a lot of benefits. He would be the grossest alien to hook up with, though. Right? There's so many hotter aliens.
What alien would you want to pork?
Yeah.
Definitely. The girl from Species, before she kills you.
Oh no, man! The girl from Alien Nation. They would have. Remember Alien Nation? Hey, is this thing on?
No, what's alienation?
Google Alien Nation. The way they would have sex is they had bumps on their spine, and they would get behind each other and just go
That's cool.
up and down, like almost kind of like, for lack of better terms, just one long clit, I guess.
Just a really big. All right. What about Mork from Mork?
Mork.
Getting his egg.
Robert Williams, I can't believe it. Oh my God, I can't believe it. What do you mean by that? So, let me touch your clit.
Dude, you sound just like him.
No, I do not.
You do a good Robin Williams. I always say that.
Pork and Mindy.
That's good.
Okay, where are we at with time?
What are we even doing?
Let's get Mr. Ponton over here. Mr. Ponton, or man on the street. I've been talking about this thing on the air for about a month, Beckett. The Palm Beach Gardens iguana hunter. And of course, Weirdo Wally finds them.
Boy, do I have a story for you.
So you sent me a video, go Bird. I think it's that iguana hunter. Look at this guy. He's got a gun, and he's shooting iguanas out from the lake, right?
Absolutely.
In Palm Beach Gardens.
His name's Colin. He's one of my next door neighbors.
No shit.
Yeah.
I live next door to an iguana hunter too. See, this is why we're related.
Shut the fuck up.
No, seriously.
And her name is Colleen. No, I'm just
So I was walking the dog. I was walking my friend's dog who's out of town, who's actually his next door neighbor. And this guy had this, it looked like a sniper rifle. He had a scope on it. He had a silencer on it. I'm like, what the hell kind of rifle is this? You don't feel comfortable walking past somebody. I know it's just an air gun now, but I didn't know that then.
Well, that's what I put up the video, and people are giving us shit, going, "It's just an air gun, you dumb fuck." I don't know what an air gun is. I never claimed to be a gun guy. I just see a person with a scope and a nozzle and a trigger. I'm not saying anything bad's going on because I know all rights, but I'm just saying I'm gonna look over there a couple times and go, "What the fuck's going on over there?"
Well, as I'm approaching him, he's kind of hiding it. And I'm like, no, not comfortable at all. And I'm okay, you know. Hey, what happens in life happens. You can't really control everything. But yeah, it was very uncomfortable as I walked past him. But I kind of started a little conversation with him and asked him, you know, what the fuck's going on?
So, and here's what I wanted to ask you. No, we got a huge iguana problem. At least here in South Florida, it is getting so crazy. People are reporting thousands and thousands of damages in their house of these iguanas just going in there and fucking shit up. He on the video said he had killed 40.
In the lake.
Was that in one day?
No. That's just out of the lake. That's the lake next to my townhouse.
Okay, I was going to say, well, I asked Denny's today, is it possible you think that guy killed 40 iguanas in one day? Denny's goes, oh, yeah, it's possible.
Well, the 3 that are in the tree that kind of swoops out from right in front of my place,
Yeah.
those 3 are gone. None of them.
Well, the reason why I thought 40 was believable, as we're talking about the story, we walk outside, and there's 3 fucking iguanas out there. As we're talking, there's 3 right there. So that's the course of 3 minutes. I don't know, Beckett. Iguana's been in my life a lot lately, and I don't iguana anymore.
I don't mind iguanas. I think iguanas probably say there's a human problem. I don't mind iguanas.
There's definitely a human
He
problem.
is. He's that. Remember, we said 9 out of 10 hate iguanas, and there's always the 10% that go, iguanas are beautiful.
I think they're cool.
I think they're cool too. Anytime I say they're cool, people fucking want to kill me. They want to shoot me with an air gun.
I don't hate them because they're not here because they walked themselves over. It was humans that messed with them and brought them here.
That's where my theory is. But then we are just heart-bleeding fuckfaces, Vicky. When we
There's always a human behind the reason we're in this position.
Yeah.
We're part of the problem, not part of the solution.
We're the start. We're at the very least, we're the start of the problem.
No, we are the problem.
Well, you hope we're wrong about that. Even though I think some people, the older you get, you can get a little bit cynical. I think when you lose hope on anything, you get hardened, and that's not a good thing. I don't think you should ever lose hope. I also don't think you should be living in la la land all the time. But I living in negativity town where there's no hope, I don't think that's a great place ever. And I know a lot of people who do choose that path the older they get.
If it's our fault, you know, why you got to take an air gun and shoot a guy in the head? You know, why not just?
It wasn't a guy; it was an iguana.
Iguana, a male
iguana.
You know, why,
Just making sure we got
Gender specific.
why not give him some birth control and transplant him? I don't know. You know, why we got to murder everything?
America.
That's actually exactly what Denny said in the text when I sent the videos. America.
America. Well, Mr. Ponton, thank you for talking to
brother.
the people on the streets. Now you got to outdo yourself. You got to find another weird person out there. And I say weird
There's always tomorrow.
with kindness. All right. I think we should wrap her up. We are going, well, we're about an hour. Let me see if we got time for one more topic here. Let's see.
We haven't done a would you rather in a while.
I don't have it, Beckett.
Okay.
We do it on the KVJ show. I thought it was, I don't know, overkill. But if you guys want weird and whatever would you rathers, let us know. Or do you want us just talking kind of like fuck
Damn,
faces
you're
for-
hoping no one brought that up.
Dear Weird Whatever, I am a former Air Force jet fighter pilot with years of experience in the skies. Throughout my career, I have witnessed several unexplained phenomenons in the sky that have left me baffled and intrigued. During one of my flights, I saw something that I cannot explain or identify. Jaybird, we are not alone in the universe. These things live in the water. I'm convinced of it. You are right with the theory that whatever these things are, hide out in the ocean. What we have in the ocean would shock all of us. I believe that there is so much more to discover and uncover in the depths of the ocean. The government is aware of this big time and has no idea how to handle it. Love when you guys talk about this stuff, Peter. I mean, Denny's, as long as you've known me, I've always been talking about aliens and UFOs in the water. Much opposite of one of my favorite movies, Signs, where they don't like water.
Water hurts them, yeah, or scares them at least.
What are your thoughts on that? Could we're talking, and you to go back on your factoid about 98% of recorded history on stuff. We started recording UFOs. We're talking in the late 30s, early 40s, around that time period, maybe even earlier than that, where there's some documented cases. What are your thoughts on that? That why they keep appearing? Not time travel, not all that bullshit. It would take 10 million years. They live in the ocean, and we don't have the technology.
The reason people are looking at the skies, but in all actuality, you're saying they're flying low and trying to just go in the ocean. They're not necessarily. They might be in the sky just traveling.
Well, what if there's a whole ecosystem of something we just don't understand in the ocean? Is that not possible, is what I'm saying?
I think, honestly, that's the most probable. Because they were saying they lived on, the moon or Mars or wherever back in the day. It's more likely they were here hiding out, I would think.
I feel like there's so much we haven't discovered in the ocean to a point where they're still finding shit now that they don't even understand what the fuck it is. Vicky, what are your thoughts on that? The abyss theory.
I mean, honestly, when you think about it, it's like it's a really logical place
It's like,
for them to
duh.
be because they're not even spending a lot of gas money, to
You're
come up
right.
from the ocean and fly over. And otherwise, wouldn't satellites pick, if they were constantly out in the
Totally.
universe, wouldn't satellites be picking them up? And we'd have that kind of evidence. But if they're in the ocean,
Well,
I think it's the most likely, too. So I looked up real quick. Roughly 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by the water.
Dude.
29% makes up the land masses.
I mean, if you look at that
That's so much. We have so much land, but it's only 30% of the planet.
Well, there's a famous UFO video where the military took it. It's from a jet pilot, and it is up in the air. It does all kind of shit that everyone seeing it that's in that field knows, well, that's fucking weird. We can't do any of that. What's going on? It not only goes in the air, it goes down in the water, goes down there for a little bit, comes back up. We have nothing that can do that. So imagine being up in the jet seeing that shit. And you are one of the best in your field. So you know what's going on out there.
you know what's out there.
I mean, could another country really have something so amazing like that we wouldn't know about it?
No.
It's gotta
No,
Not
I
if
think
we-
technologically we would all be kind of in the same ballpark.
Well, that's always the pushback. It's another country with shit we don't have and they don't know. I feel like there's no way.
No way. People want to make money and be famous now. They would
100%.
steal that technology.
Yeah.
There would be
100%.
something.
I feel like we are all kind of alone on this one. And it's something that, I don't know, man. I used to think it's never going to happen in our lifetime. I think there's a possibility we might get an answer of sorts.
That'd be fun. Like right before I died, I found out.
The aliens are real.
Here's the other weird thing about you would have to make the assumption that all aliens are responsible. You know what I'm saying? Like they all hide so well. And if you just took a small sample size of humans, the responsibility is going to be so it's just you can't trust us.
Well, we
So
couldn't.
how do aliens, how are they so adept at just concealment?
They're better. That's always been the
Are
theory.
they just a
They're
better
just-
species?
They're just better. They're smarter. They're quick. Well, if they're doing shit where they're stopping on a dime
And then
in the air and then shooting up left and then going down in the water and then coming back up, I would say they might be more intelligent, which would lead to me thinking they're also emotionally more intelligent.
Next thing you know, the aliens have air guns.
yeah, they're hunting us like iguana.
That's always my analogy because, they have a higher level of intelligence. And who are we to complain? Because that's how we've been treating animals that are less intelligent than us. And who are we to complain if they just start putting us
We
in-
can't accept that we're not the top.
Right, but at that point, if they came and they're that much intelligent than us, we're just, they're like, these annoying humans, they're just coming in and messing up my shit.
But Denny's is so right though. We cannot accept, and I'm talking about overall as the species, that there might be something greater or something we don't know about, or what we've been told may not be true. We can't accept that, and we do have to be the top dog. Everything is made in our image.
Right.
We're the best.
It's weird. Right. It makes you think with the human history thing that we're just dropped off by aliens. They hid some, literature around and people found it and they go, oh, this is the history. And, it could all just be planted.
Vicky, if you got a chance to know exactly what was going on, you know how the whole thing works.
What if you got the chance but you couldn't tell anyone?
Would you do it?
Oh, yeah, and I'd walk around so cocky. So I'd be like, I know it and you don't.
But wouldn't that be heavy if it was some shit? Yep, lizard people are real. They are in the Middle Earth.
The core earthers.
They drink lava. That's how they fuel.
I think our precursors to our current Homo sapiens were probably on the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. And then we evolved from that.
But how do we even know that was real? I mean, when Denny's comes up with the... And I sound like a guy who's been drinking whiskey. I get it. There's been people who have done a lot of research on that. But if that stat is real, 98% of human history hasn't been recorded, or just history in general, wouldn't you argue that we really don't know diddly dick about diddly dick?
Yeah.
Well, we know a lot more than we used to know.
No, I'm not saying that. I think we're getting better, but to act like... We know. Yeah. I don't know, man. Kind of a...
Well, it's that old saying, like, people that know a lot are very intelligent. The ones that I think look at it correctly, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I always love to do a little weird and whatever wellness check when it comes to the things we believe in. Lizard people, yes or no? Ponton, yes or no?
No. Lizard people.
Beckett.
No.
Vicky.
I'm not trying to lizard shame either.
Okay. Aliens.
Birds probably a no on that.
Ponton, please be loud.
Yes.
Aliens, I believe there's aliens.
You do believe there's aliens?
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that they visit the planet as much. Yeah,
Really?
I mean, I think maybe there's been some sightings.
It hurts, Denny, to hear you say this.
I hear you, but if you think about just from when we started documenting, since we're on this topic, I'm just saying when they've put them in, because they've been, I mean, even back to Egyptian times and stuff, they do see things in the sky. Now, what were those things? Were they UFOs? And then through the depictions, it just resembles a UFO, but it could be, anything. It could be a meteor. It could be a...
But what about the Zimbabwe story I always make
So
you
that's
watch?
what I'm saying. There's points in history where there are very convincing stories of aliens, but then there's so many that there's not. It's just you feel like if they did visit, maybe.
I mean, geez, we can't even.
It's been
agree.
a few,
We can't even agree on religions in here, right? Like this guy was the prophet. This guy was the prophet.
Well, hold on, Becky. Me and Denny's are in the middle of a major fight right now. I'm just kidding. Go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm just saying we can't agree. Kind of on theme. We can't even agree on human history.
That's what I'm saying.
Jesus was our savior. He walked. He was the prophet. Muhammad. Muhammad's. The Buddhist or whatever. We can't even agree on like human stuff.
You can't even make a joke. I remember one time I was just trying to be cute. A religious topic came up on the air, and I go, "Has anyone ever thought if we got this wrong? What if Jesus didn't have a beard?" And
oh my god!
Holy shit! Oh my god! I was just trying to be cute, and I realized real quick we don't do those kind of jokes anymore.
Right.
Yeah, you can do beard jokes.
Yeah,
you can't even do Santa jokes really either. Actually,
yeah, I'd stay away from it.
If you're in Philly,
well, they could. They love Philly loves ruining dreams.
Just everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think on that note, Philly ruining dreams, we can end the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for we're 70 strong, right? Almost 80 strong right now. It's a great podcast, guys.
Yes.
Thank you for everybody who's tuning in. Well, I had great fun. I don't want to speak for the crew over here.
I was lukewarm on it.
It was so good I almost died. So.
But I do want to say that there is a story. I don't know if you're able to pull it up, Denny's. There's a missing woman here in Palm Beach Gardens. Her name is, she's 29 years old. Her name's Cassidy Munster. Last seen in Palm Beach Gardens a few days ago, and somebody sent it to me and said, "Hey, if you want to talk about this on your podcast, we'd appreciate that." And I want to always, If you guys know of anyone here locally that's missing, please send it to me. I will promote it on the KVJ show during What's on My Mind. But if I don't know about it, sometimes I just, I won't be able to talk about it. But let me know if there is something like that here locally you want me to talk about. I will always try to get that message out there. But yeah, her name is Cassidy Munster, last in Palm Beach Gardens. Are you able to pull it up, Dens?
Not, but I was going to share it in the chat here.
Okay. So yeah, you also can Google her name. It'll come right up. If you guys know any information, I can tell my whiskey's working. Any information, please let us know. We do take missing people seriously. It is a passion of mine. We want to obviously bring some closure to a lot of people here. Now, time for our local songwriter of the day.
Ready.
Or of the week, or of the month, whatever you want to call it. Bryan Thomas is his name, Vicky.
Okay.
And Shelia is her name, the name of the song. Now, if you are a person who writes your own music, especially if you're local, but you can be any KVJ Nation or from anywhere, I don't care. As long as you write your own shit, we want to promote it. And we promote all types of music here on the Weird and Whatever podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. This is Bryan Thomas, local songwriter, with the song Shelia, We Love You All, and
Bigfoot is real.
I don't know your middle name, but I reckon you don't know mine. But I still see you in my dreams, still don't know why. 'Cause girl, you're perfect for me. Don't wanna waste no time. So come on home with me. I'll lay out the sheets and we'll have a good time. I wanna be your everything, coming like a hurricane. Another it walls down. I wanna buy you a diamond ring, change your last name, settle down, buy a house. But if I can't be your everything, then baby girl, this ain't working out. And I don't know your middle name, I love the taste of your lips. And right now I don't feel a thing. Must be the whiskey kicking in.